Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menashe. Using historic data to predict the future seems to be getting more and more difficult. It used to be the case that you could rely on recent history as a predictor of near-term demand, but that's become increasingly difficult. On today's show, we're talking about a new phenomenon that's become so common there's actually a phrase that's used to describe it. We're talking about revenge spending. Now, revenge spending is not a new term. It's often associated with a spending spree that happens when a member of a couple is mad at their partner. Now, this podcast is not about marital troubles, and we're not talking about that kind of revenge spending. The kind of revenge spending that's trending in 2021 is pandemic revenge spending. This is the feeling that somehow we've missed out on treating ourselves for the past year, that somehow the universe owes us something. We've put up with no celebrations, no dining out, no concerts, no vacations by the beach, no new clothing, and on and on. People have the urge to go out and splurge on themselves, almost as a reward for being locked down for the past year. The term for this consumer behavior is revenge spending. Revenge spending is going to take many different forms. People are spending money on luxuries, but not just in North America, it's happening all over the world. The newly wealthy business owners in China have a huge appetite for Western luxury items. A few years ago, I watched a single buyer in a boutique in Paris spend $70,000 in leather purses in under half an hour. Hermès, the French luxury label known for its $10,000 handbags, raked in $2.7 million in just one day from a store reopening in Guangzhou, one of China's fastest-growing industrial cities. For many, this year is going to mean vacation travel in the second half of the year. So instead of just revenge spending, it's going to be revenge travel. I'm talking with many people who have their finger on the mouse button just waiting to purchase their airfare. I also know several who had booked travel for the spring and have canceled their plans. It's still a little too soon in a number of locations around the world. Some countries have stated they're willing to accept tourists who have been fully vaccinated. But even the global cruise industry is still on life support. In 2019, that industry brought in $57 billion in revenue and served 29.7 million passengers. That's a lot of vacations that are seeking alternate forms of vacation this year, and possibly into next year. It's going to be some time before the global cruise industry recovers to pre-pandemic levels. The pandemic has caused a number of people to rethink their priorities. Some have quit their jobs. Others have separated from their spouse after being locked up with them for a year. It's even happened to Bill Gates. Some have decided to start a new business. One thing we can easily predict is that the velocity of change in 2021 is going to be unlike any other year in recent memory, and 2020 was a year of dramatic change. Supply chain shortages are testing the whole notion of supply elasticity of demand. We're seeing prices for certain commodities that are just unheard of. And this is true in real estate as well. We're continuing to see a white-hot market condition in multiple markets. I have not moved to control as much land in a single time period as I have since the emergence of the pandemic began. I don't think I'm the only one. I'm seeing many high-net-worth families banking land in unbelievable locations. And we're coming across these signs on a daily basis. With the economy expected to grow between 6 to 8% this year, business owners and entrepreneurs are going to need to be nimble to respond to the rapidly changing market conditions. The business will go to those who are ready and who are in position. Those who are too slow to respond will miss the opportunity. The recovery is exposing those who are out of position. The examples are everywhere. The car rental companies had to reduce the size of their fleets in order to survive. Now they have a shortage of cars on holiday weekends. Business travel hasn't returned, and demand is coming from the leisure sector, but here too, the demand is changing week by week. The emergence from the pandemic slowdown will be chaotic and exhilarating. It'll also be frustrating for those who are out of position, and it'll be downright dangerous for those who forecast the spike in short-term demand as a continuation of long-term demand. Revenge spending is a single isolated event and not a long-term trend. As you think about that, have an awesome rest of your day. Go make some great things happen. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.